I'm going to keep my headphones on for a second. Okay. So this is the No Name podcast right now. We'll call it the Temporary Travel Light podcast. That's what we'll call it.
Temporary Travel Light.
A Travel Light temporary podcast. With me.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, Season 1, Track 1, Volume 2. I have with me Melanie Tucci, who is my fiance, my partner in crime, and the owner of the Travel Light Group Adventures Company. And I wanted to bring her on to talk to her about her company, her company as me as a co-host in the company, and how she got to where she is right now and what she has been doing and what she has coming up next. And because I've been kind of on these trips too.
Thank you, Enzo, for hosting me on
Your podcast.
My podcast, Episode 1, Volume 2.
Awesome. So, okay. I really do want to talk about Travel Light. So what is Travel Light?
Travel Light is my adventure travel business that I started a couple of years ago. And our inaugural trip was a 105-mile hike across the Alps. So you could say that we started off with a bang.
It was a really good bang. I mean, it was a great bang. How long? 10 days, 12 days?
The hike itself was 12 days, and that included a rest day. So
okay.
we hiked through Italy, France, and Switzerland. And that was something that was on my bucket list for a long time. I have been traveling since I was like 15 years old. So a long, long time now. And I've been going on these like pretty crazy adventures. I kind of started the crazier adventures when I was like in my early 20s. So, and by crazy adventures, I mean things like hiking hundreds of miles for multiple days in a row.
Sorry, it's just in between when you speak, there's a squeak, and that's just Penelope.
Penelope's chewing on her lamb.
Yeah, it might not be conducive to the audio.
I didn't even notice it because it's just such a huge part of my life.
But since I hear everything in these, it's like, oh.
That's funny.
And it echoes in here. So wait, when we did the Tour de Mont Blanc, Travel Light wasn't even a thing yet. You were just doing it because you wanted it.
That was so that trip happened because for a long time, for many years, I had been wanting to do group trips, but I wasn't really sure where or how to start. And I wasn't sure if anybody would sign up because the things that I was doing were pretty wild. Like, I wasn't just going to like all-inclusive resorts or like maybe doing like a group trip to the Bahamas or something like that. It was like I wanted to hike for several days and stay in mountain huts in Europe and Nepal and go to places that people don't usually go to, like Colombia in South America. So I wanted to see if these types of trips would be something that I could get people to join me on. So when I decided to do the Tour de Mont Blanc, I sent out a text to a group of friends to see if anybody would want to come. And to my surprise, we had a group of 7. So that was really my first time dipping my toes into leading group trips.
7 plus us 2.
7 total.
7 total.
You were there.
I was there. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of people, a lot of days hiking. I blocked out a lot of it. And were you surprised how many people wanted to go?
Yeah, I was really surprised, especially because I probably sent that message to like 10 people and then 5 of them said yes.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good response rate.
Okay. And the people that went with us, how would you describe them? Were they hikers or?
Some of them were hikers.
Yeah.
A few of them were hikers. Some of them were not hikers. You were not a hiker.
I'm still not a hiker.
And you decided to come.
Yeah.
So that was also a test to can people join these trips who have never done anything like this before and still have a great time? Because if you've never hiked 105 miles before with a backpack on your back, you don't know that that's something you can accomplish. Yeah. So that was, there were at least two people on that trip, you and someone else who had never done anything like that before, and you both survived and I think had a great time.
Yeah, I had an amazing time. The other person also had a little bit of a difficult time in some of the areas. And it was great about that. What was great about that trip is, it was a long hike and multiple days and a lot of hours. But there are a lot of passages that if you don't want to hike or you can't hike because of whatever reason, you could take a bus and it'll get you to your next destination in 15 minutes. So that was really cool. That for me personally, I mean, I didn't plan the trip at all, but knowing that there was such a mixed group of people and the fact that, okay, if someone can't make it, they can do that. For me, I was like, okay, then everybody's going to be fine.
Yeah, that's something special about the Tour de Mont Blanc is that you're passing through towns most of the way. So it's not like a remote destination where you can't get out for, if you need to take a day off. So yeah, we did have a couple people who took a bus instead of walking. And there were a couple times that we took ski lifts or buses, just because we didn't want to go for 3 hours downhill. Maybe our knees were hurting or there were blisters and things like that. And then I think that the other really, really special thing about that hike is that we have a rest day in an Italian resort ski town. And we went to a spa. Yeah,
that was an amazing spa.
And some people got massages, and then we were able to just like hang out in the mountains in these outdoor hot tubs, and it was really freaking awesome. That was one of my favorite parts of that whole hike, and I just love like the cultural aspect of it too, of like passing through 3 different countries. You're going through different languages. And crossing borders on foot, which is just really, really cool.
Yeah. And when you describe someone like this type of hike, they usually think, oh, so you're camping every night after a long day of hiking? And that wasn't the case at all. We were staying in some pretty nice huts.
Yeah, we stayed in really nice mountain lodges that are called refugios. And then we also we stayed in hotels a couple of nights. So I love backpacking and getting out in nature, but I'm also a little bit bougie and I really value sleep. So the fact that you can sleep indoors every night is something that really draws me to these types of experiences. And also the fact that you can get out in nature without having to carry your own tent and a sleeping bag and all of your own food for however many days you're traveling for. Because I have done that type of travel before, and it's different. Like you're probably looking at like a 40-pound backpack versus like a 15-pound backpack, which makes a huge difference in how strong and fit you have to be to do something like this. And I also just love that when you get to the mountain lodges, instead of like setting up your tent and then getting out your little stove and boiling water and making a meal out of a bag, you get to just order a beer and you get served a family style dinner.
Like one of the best meals that I've had. They were
the food was really, really good along the Tour de Mont Blanc specifically.
Yeah. I mean, for someone that's never done it, I mean, you've done that multiple times beforehand. For someone that's ever done it, I was pleasantly surprised how much fun I had. Now, mind you, there were days that if I never saw another mountain in my life, I would be perfectly okay with it. But it's crazy
But it's type 2 fun because then you look back on it and you're like, oh, I would do that again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I say that now, but I might regret it when we actually go do it again. It's like I was out.
Next year.
2025. Yeah, you're doing when are you planning that?
July 2025.
Wow. Let's talk about a trip that we just came back from, because that was super exciting, super fresh. We were in Colombia.
South America.
South America.
Not
Missouri.
or South Carolina.
Yeah. We were in Colombia, South America, and we did the Lost City trek.
Mm-hmm.
That was wild.
Yeah, that was really wild.
Yeah,
that was my first jungle trek.
Yeah, and the first official Travel Lite Group Adventures LLC trip.
Super official, yeah.
Super official.
We've done many trips, but I would say now that it is branded, it's official.
Mm-hmm.
We are Travel Lite, and yeah, we're ready to hit the road.
Mm-hmm. And that's exciting.
It's a good slogan.
Because, hit the road, hit the trails.
Yeah.
Hit the trails, Jack. We have fun. I like the idea of now that you have it like official and it's Travel Lite. Like it's not just Melanie planning trips, because I think that got you so much more excited to plan so many more trips. And I mean, we just did Colombia, and I want to talk about it, but we also have AV1 in July. You're going to do
we're going back to Europe, back to the Alps.
You're doing the Camino in May.
Yes, I am doing a solo trip on the Camino de Santiago starting in May.
You're doing Patagonia in November.
Mm-hmm.
That's more places than people have gone their entire life. And you're doing it in 6 months.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
It's really exciting.
That's super exciting. Are you excited about any one of them more than the other?
No, I would say equal. I'm just directed by Penelope. I would say I'm equally excited for all of those trips. Patagonia, I have done before. I did that twice in 2023 last year. Mm-hmm. And that trip is just really, really special. I would say that it just packs like some of the most beautiful scenery into that 5-day hike that I've ever seen. And it's just such a remote part of the world. Like you're not really on the trek, you're not passing through towns. We're in a national park. So again, we're staying indoors on the trek. But it's really different. There's glaciers. I love seeing the icebergs. The weather is just really unpredictable, but that allows for just like, it just adds such a huge element to the trip of like rain and some wind, and then the sun comes out and there's this magical rainbow. Yeah. So that I love that part of the world. I'm very excited about Patagonia, but we should talk about Colombia since we just got back.
Yeah, let's talk about it because it's fresh. So we went to Colombia March 4th, right? Mm-hmm. And we spent a couple of days in Cartagena, which we love and hate at the same time.
Yes, we hate Cartagena. If you've been there, you probably understand.
Yeah, there's it's a lot of beauty, a lot of history, so much culture. I guess the only thing that's just kind of a turn off is the street vendors. Yeah. There's just too many of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that come up and want you to buy something. So you just have to be prepared when you go to Cartagena. Mm-hmm. You have to know kind of what to expect and how to not get overly hassled or overly stimulated. I think it's important to know what hotels to stay in so that you can have some peace. Mm-hmm. Because being out of the hotel is just a little bit hectic.
Yeah, it's an adventure for me.
It's an adventure, yeah, and it's a amazing place to spend 2 to 3 days.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we did.
And that's what we did.
We spent 2 or 3 days
with the group. We spent really like a day and a half. I guess we went back to Cartagena at the end, so like 2 days in Cartagena with the whole group. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was great because we got to get settled in before the entire group got there. Mm-hmm. We stayed at our favorite hotel, Casa La Fe. We stayed at a hostel as well. And we did a lot of cool stuff. We did the cooking class, which I thought that was really great.
Yeah, that was really fun.
That you set up. That was super fun. Obviously, we did the nightlife and we did but once the group got there, that's when things really started kicking off.
Yeah, so the whole group arrived on, I think it was either March 7th or March 8th, March 8th. And then, we had our first dinner together at one of my favorite restaurants in town that was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, Carmen.
Love Carmen. And then the next day
Those were so good. What did we eat? What was that thing called?
It's fish with hearts of palm.
Yeah.
Like a bed of coconut rice. Yeah, it's amazing.
Man, Colombians, they're good at a lot of things, but something they're really good at is coconut rice.
Yeah, the coconut rice is really good. We learned how to make it in our cooking class.
Yeah,
too.
there's a bunch of sugar in it. One coconut, an entire coconut, and a bag of rice. It's amazing. So we started with the dinner.
Mm-hmm. And then on our first full day in Cartagena, we did a walking tour that was 2.5 or so hours long with this lovely gentleman named Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
He walked us all around the city of Cartagena. We had so many little snacks and stopped at all these different juice stands. So one of the best things about being in Cartagena is the street food. So you're walking around and you just get to sample all these different things from the street. There's all these different types of juice. Like there's just people with these little carts and it's like 90 degrees out and they're just squeezing this cup of like mandarin juice and handing it to you. And it's so good and so refreshing on a hot day.
Yeah.
Somehow they have ice in there.
I don't get how that works.
I don't know.
I mean, that is probably filled to the rim with ice.
It's got a ton of ice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing.
So that makes sense now because when I noticed them, they got like a cup and they put the juice from the cooler into a cup, and then they squeezed like 2 more fruits in it because it probably is watered down from all the melted ice.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's yeah, so we did that. That was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about the history.
Mm-hmm. Poor guy.
Why?
Isaac. Just because, like, I mean, he gave us so much good information and he told us everything, but I think at some point people were just so hot that we're just like, they can't even think straight. We're just looking at like, where's the next street vendor?
Yeah, after a couple hours, we started getting into the heat of the day.
Yeah.
And then, that was perfect. We went to lunch and had our frozen lemonades to cool off.
Yeah, those are good.
And then, and then we had a little break and then we did dinner and a dance class.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun.
We did salsa, bachata, and champeta.
Yeah. Champeta. And that was new for a lot of people. Like we've done a lot of dancing, Latin dancing, but several people, it was their first time getting like any introduction into those rhythms and they loved it. Like I think everybody just thrived in that dance class.
Speaking of first timers, you had 4 people that have never left the country.
4, 5. I think there were 5.
5 people?
4. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, the 5th one, I think they've been to Canada. Which,
I
mean, whatever. That doesn't count. 5 people will say that have never left the country and went to Cartagena, Colombia as their first place. That must have been wild for them.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was crazy to just see their reactions to everything. Like, I feel like they were just like a kid in a candy store, like looking at everything like it was brand new because it was for them. Yeah. And we've been to Cartagena. I've probably been to Cartagena 5 times now. So yeah, it's like, it's just not, it doesn't have that like newness anymore. I mean, it does because I'm coming from Missouri. Mm-hmm. So like going from Missouri to Cartagena, Colombia is like always a huge change.
Yeah.
But it was great to have those people and see their experiences, and then to see like the posts that they're sharing on social media afterwards, and like the way that they're describing their experience is just it's incredible,
rewarding, really.
Yeah,
they loved it, and they didn't know what to expect.
Yeah,
it was. I didn't know what to expect of their reactions, and I mean everybody did great. Mm-hmm. So we spent a couple of days in Cartagena, ate a bunch of food, walked around, did some street tours.
Yes. And then we took a private transportation to Santa Marta, which is still along the Caribbean coast to the east.
It was like 4 hours.
Yeah, to the east of Cartagena. And we checked into our hotel there, which was a literal slice of paradise. Like, palm trees, this huge pool, It was just like the most
Free breakfast.
stunning the food. It was the most stunning hotel. Honestly, one of my favorites in the world now because it was just such a lovely.
Yeah, and we won't say the name
location.
so nobody can find it. It's true. I don't want anybody to know about that
Yeah,
place.
nobody can know about it.
Yeah, you
No.
could probably just Google nice hotels in Santa Marta.
It would be the only one. No,
You'll find it.
DM me if you want to know
Yeah.
the names of the hotels we stayed at.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, reach out to Melanie. TravelTooch on Instagram, lite adventures on everything else. Okay, so we get to Santa Marta, and I really liked the hotel. I really liked the Tayrona National Park hike that we did.
Yeah.
That
So
was
the
cool.
day after we got to Santa Marta, we went to Tayrona National Park, and I've been there several times, and every time I go, I'm just totally blown away by how magical that place is.
Insane.
Like you have to hike 2 hours to get to the beach where it's like really comfortable for
Get
swimming.
this a little closer.
And where they have like a restaurant there, and there's a couple bars that serve drinks, so there's kind of like some infrastructure on this beach, and it's also just like the water is perfect. Like it's my favorite beach.
Yeah. And
You like you're in the jungle,
yeah.
you're in the rainforest.
You literally have to walk like an hour
2 hours
2 hours
through the jungle,
to get to the most beautiful
passing
beach.
monkeys,
Yeah. Baby sloth.
baby sloths.
Mama sloth.
No. For the record, there are no sloths in Tayrona National Park, but there are some in Cartagena,
Oh yeah, there's
which
8.
we didn't cover.
There's 8.
Yeah,
in
there's a park
Cartagena.
in Cartagena where they have sloths.
We'll go back to that. But in Tayrona, yeah, that was an amazing hike. And then we got to...
And on the way, there are indigenous tribes who are selling jewelry and coconuts. So we stopped and had a fresh coconut, which was really fun. They cut it with a machete and hand it to you, and you just get to drink the coconut water.
And then they'll cut it up for you, and you can eat the inside. And so that was amazing. And then we hiked to San Juan?
Cabo San Juan.
Cabo San Juan. And that's where that beautiful beach is with
Yeah.
the amazing stone or...
Yeah.
What is that? Like, it's like a...
It's like all built up with the gazebo on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool with all the hammocks.
And you can actually rent out one of those hammocks
Yeah.
for the night and
You did that.
sleep there. I did that a few years ago. Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Highly recommend
Like-
staying inside Tayrona National Park if you can swing it. And if you don't mind sleeping in a hammock.
Yeah. I mean, the fact, like, when we went, it was pretty crowded. Nothing crazy, but it was like crowded. And I can only imagine, like, when everybody has to leave.
Yeah.
And
And
the
you're
peop-
the last one left.
Last one's there. You can see the sunset, staying at that hammock, and then wake up and you're the first one on the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, that was, and I was surprised how chilly the water was. And it felt great because it was,
It was hot
95
out.
degrees.
Yeah. And we had just hiked for 2 hours. So
Yeah.
It's like you wanted something refreshing.
It was really good.
Yeah, so we got to relax in the water for a while. And then we went and had a traditional lunch inside the park. And then hiked back out.
Yeah. Hiked back out, went back to the hotel, just hung out by the pool, had
Ordered food.
Yeah. Had a couple
it was lovely.
of daiquiris.
And then we got ready for our trek.
Oof.
And
That was a surprise for a lot of people.
yeah, we did have a lot of people who it was their first time trekking. Like there were several people who it was the first time out of the country, and there were even more people who it was their first time on a trekking trip. And I brought my scale so that I could go through and kind of weigh everyone's backpacks to make sure that no one was packing anything excessive. And we had a few. We had a few who packed too much. And that's okay.
Like, here's before we even get into that, the scale. I mean, if you're doing these type of hikes, you need a scale because you need to have a frame of reference of how much weight you want to carry. But
and our backpacks were about 19 pounds, you and I, with water.
Yeah.
And I carry just a few extra things because I'm the leader of the group and I also probably went overboard on snacks.
Yeah, a lot of snacks.
We had too many snacks.
Which we didn't need.
We didn't need any of the snacks.
They provided a lot of snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that just packed a lot of, I wouldn't say, it was unnecessary. After we did the hike, we realized, 95% of the stuff that you could have left.
But some of it is precautionary, like having a poncho. We just got really lucky and it didn't rain, so we didn't need our ponchos.
Yeah.
But had it rained, we would have needed those. And there's several things that you bring kind of like just in case.
Yeah. But it's not like a just in case, like you're going to a city, like, just in case we go out to eat, just in case we go walking.
Yeah, I would say that maybe we all packed a little extra clothing.
Yeah, even us, and we were pretty light.
Yeah, like I think that for this trip, you probably, for the Lost City trek, you could just bring 2 shirts.
Mm-hmm. Wool shirts, it would help so they don't stink. 2
shorts.
And a bathing suit. I brought a pair of pants that I wore every night, and I'm glad I brought those. Yeah? You didn't bring pants. Mm-mm. No.
But it didn't get chilly. I also brought a really light jacket that I wore, and it was cozy to put on my jacket and pants at night and know that I was protected if there was any mosquitoes and stuff.
Yeah. Fortunately, we didn't have any mosquitoes.
Yeah, there were really, as a total of a group, we may have got like 5 mosquito bites.
Yeah, which was crazy. But
because we were in the jungle.
Yeah. Then there were no mosquitoes. It was the dry season.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to it. So we were the night before.
Yeah, the night before we start going through bags a little bit. And
people are
I would say toiletries are one of the biggest things that people overpack. Mm-hmm. For a trek like this, you do not need shampoo or conditioner. And all of your toiletries need to be like teeny tiny travel size, like the smallest toothpaste you can find.
Yeah, I would say
small deodorant, like everything needs to be mini.
Deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, and that Dr. Bronner's,
a small bottle of Bronner's.
That is all the toiletries.
And you can wash your body with that, your hair. It's biodegradable, so you can use it in the river.
Maybe floss.
Oh, floss, yeah.
If you want floss.
Yeah. Sunscreen. But sunscreen is something that could be shared among the group. Mm-hmm. So like maybe 4 people could bring 1 bottle of sunscreen.
Yeah.
And that's something that we will be better about next time, of like coordinating those types of things.
Yeah. Because every ounce
counts. Sanitizer. We have different hygiene standards.
Yeah. And then so toiletries is really the biggest thing.
Yeah. You can save a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Cut a lot of weight from your toiletries.
I think things that you can't go light on is underwear and socks. Mm-hmm. If you have wool socks, I brought like 5 pairs of socks for 4 pairs of socks for 4 days, and I only used 2 pairs because they were wool. They weren't getting stinky.
You wore them each twice.
Yeah, each twice, and I was sweating a lot.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, and yeah, I didn't need to bring a lot of stuff because with the snacks, like throughout the hike, and let's talk about the hike now, there was always places that people were just offering snacks.
Yeah, we realized as soon as we started the hike, the first day is immediately challenging because you just start going uphill right away.
Immediately.
Like really, really steep hills.
Yeah.
But also it was awesome because like every 30 minutes we would have a break. Mm-hmm. And we would get to take off our backpacks, and they would have like a cut up watermelon or some other kind of like local products for us, different types of like juice. And then there was always cold water, Coca-Cola, different things that you could purchase.
Yeah.
So it was like you would, get up that 30-minute hill. It's hot. You're sweating. And then you get to have a cold beverage and some fruit. So that helped a lot.
You want to have some loose cash.
Yeah.
Because all these little, like they're literally on the side of the mountain that you're just like, there's a little vendor there that's local, and they'll, you can buy a Coca-Cola for $1, and you think, who wants to drink Coca-Cola when you're hiking? But, when you're hiking that much and you're sweating that much, the sugar might help. Obviously fruits is better, but a Coke, a Gatorade, They have electrolytes or electrolyte. And yeah, but when you say, 30 minutes and then take a break, people might think, oh, well, I mean, that's a pretty easy hike. Every 30 minutes we take a break, but
it's needed.
Those 30 minutes are like this.
Yeah, it was very steep.
Yeah.
The breaks were welcome. Yeah.
So the terrain was very steep. How many hours did we do the first day?
I think we did about 4 hours on the first day.
We started at noon.
Yeah, we started later because we started after lunch. So we hiked about 4 hours. And then in the first day, you're hiking through farmer territory. So this hike has a few different parts to it. The first day and a half are through farmer territory, which is so fun because there's all these animals.
Yeah, the cows.
And pigs. And a lot of cats and dogs. Mules, yeah. A lot of cats and dogs, chickens.
Yeah.
So that was super fun and it's just gorgeous. Like when I organized this trip, so I did a ton of research about the Lost City Trek, and I've done lots of other treks in the world. So I've been hearing about the Lost City Trek for years and how great it is. But when you look at pictures of it, you're kind of like, okay, sure. It's like a jungle. Everything's green. And like the pictures are like, all right, that looks cool. But then you get there and like you're just in the jungle.
Yeah.
And
it looks like Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
it really just does.
It's like, and then you take a picture and then you're like, oh shoot, that doesn't look anything like it. Because there's like so many levels of green.
So many layers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one mountain and then another mountain behind it and you can't grasp.
That's it. Yeah. There's so much like vast distance you can see for so far.
And in a picture it just looks like different shapes.
Yeah, the picture just kind of makes it look flat. But in person it's like, holy shit. Like we are out in this jungle and like you can see forever and it's just like endlessly green and the trees are so huge and there's just like plants growing on plants and it's just a really beautiful environment. I guess this is happening now. What I'm trying to say is that the photos don't do it justice. It's like being there is like just this really raw, incredible experience.
It really is. And I mean, we really got just a taste of it on the first day and we were hiking for 4 hours.
Yeah. The other days were much longer. The 2 middle days were long.
Yeah. The last day could have been long too, but we decided not to.
Yeah.
So the first day we do the 5 hours, 4.5 hours, then we get to this amazing little hut and immediately we get introduced to just a swimming well.
Yeah.
Swimming
was a huge part of this trip because the Buritaca River runs through this area and you get to jump in it a lot, which is so much fun.
And so refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually didn't take a shower on this trip.
Yeah, me neither.
There are showers.
There are showers. But with the river and Dr. Bronner's, which is biodegradable soap, you can just kind of just do that.
Yeah.
And the water is so cold.
And it's so clear. Yeah. Like you would think, okay, maybe I'm not going to swim in like this jungle water.
No, but it's beautiful.
But it's really clear. Like you can see straight to the bottom. We didn't see any snakes, nothing creepy.
And it was such a like revitalizing experience for your body because your body's just in so much heat and physical straining and your muscles are aching, your joints might be hurting and you jump in this water and it's kind of like it's cold and it's like a shock and if you feel great and
I'm not a cold water person, but I had to get in and it was pretty much the best part of every day.
Yeah, you crawled in. A lot of people jumped in because this is off a ledge.
The first day.
Yeah. The first day.
Yeah.
And it was probably like a 10-foot ledge. You could just jump right into this.
It looked really scary from the top. So I decided to take the ladder to get down, but a lot of people jumped.
It was super fun.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the night, we got to our bunks. We had an amazing meal every night the meal was
We were actually served a whole fish on this first night.
Rice.
Unless you were vegetarian, you were eating a whole fish, which like eyes and everything, which I've never done before. And as soon as it was served, I was thinking, uh-oh, I'm going to be hungry.
Yeah.
And then I tried it and it was actually so good.
Yeah, it's a deep fried fish.
Yeah, it was really, really
so
good. Fresh.
You, full disclosure, you had me pick it apart for you because you didn't want to touch it.
Yeah. I didn't want to pick it apart.
You didn't want to look at it. You just wanted to eat it.
That's true. But I did eat it and it was very good.
It was good. Yeah, and then Antonio was our guide this entire trip. He was amazing. Did a lot of, gave us a lot of information and did more than we saw any other guide do.
Yeah.
And we saw that on the second or third day. No, the second day. When we took us to that other
Oh,
water
yeah.
hole.
We got to go to an extra swimming hole.
Yeah. Okay, so day 2.
That was awesome.
We wake up.
Well, first off, where are we sleeping?
Oh, we're sleeping. The best way I could explain it is like is an outdoor garage. It's pretty much
like
just
a shelter.
A shelter with beams. There's no walls, and then there's bunk beds throughout the entire, underneath the roof, and there's just bunk beds with mosquito nets over them, and that's it. And that's where you're sleeping, and it's surprisingly
it's
really,
like summer camp.
Yeah, it's like summer camp. Surprisingly really relaxing because you hear all the bugs and all the river, and it's nice white noise. The only downside is if you need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, because it was so dark and these mosquito nets are just tucked under your mattress, so you had to like really rip them out and go to the bathroom. And if you're in the top bunk, forget it. Just pee your pants. Don't even go to the bathroom because it's not worth it. I contemplated
You
for
could
like
keep a bottle up there with you if you're a guy.
no way.
I don't know.
You'd make such a mess. Yeah,
I don't know anything about that.
I don't even know. Oh, and then if you fill the water, oh no, you can't. You just gotta risk it.
Right,
but when I
mind.
went, I had to wake you up for your phone because I was afraid of
Oh,
snakes in the night. And so that the sleeping arrangements, surprisingly, on a comfy bed, it was really, really nice. And then woke up 5 a.m.
Every day.
Yep, breakfast at 5:30. Hit the trails at 6 o'clock. Second day was tough.
Yeah, the second day was really long. I think we did about 12 miles, and we had a lot of breaks. We had a full swimming break for probably at least 45 minutes.
That was crazy.
And then we also had an Indigenous talk, which is probably at least another 45 minutes. So
yeah,
it was a long day, but we had a lot of breaks.
A lot of breaks, but a lot of uphill. There was a part of it that the guide called happy hour. Yeah, it was the last thing.
And that was just going uphill for an hour.
For an hour straight.
Yeah, but we cheered for each other at the top, and
it was awesome.
We all made it.
Once we made it all to the top, it was great. But it was tough. And the entire hike is just up or down. There's no flat passes at all. I mean, if you had a flat hike or a flat part of the trail, is probably 5 minutes?
Yeah, and you better live it up.
Yeah, that is. And then they called it Colombian flat because it was still kind of like. So yeah, we hiked from like 6 a.m. to noon with a couple breaks in between, and then at noon we went to that amazing water spot that I think we were the only group that went there. Our guide knew because it was an extra 30-minute hike to get to it, right? And I mean, not many people want to do an extra 30 minutes, but it was so worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was so beautiful.
Beautiful, and that's where you got a little bit of water. Yeah.
Yeah. Enzo jumped in, and I took a little sip accidentally of river water.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You don't want to.
You don't drink the river water.
Yeah, or else there's river water going to be coming out of you.
Yeah. It makes its way.
We all got there by the end of the trip. Everyone was river watering.
Yeah. So we continued. Yeah, and we had our talk with the Indigenous the Indigenous gentleman who welcomed us into his hut, and we all sat around and just had a translator and got to ask some questions at the end.
Because
And
they don't
just
speak Spanish.
got a little insight into their culture. They do speak.
They do speak some
It's
of
not
them.
their native language, but they all know Spanish. It
Yeah.
seems like a lot of them know Spanish. But man, that was one of the highlights of. There's so many highlights of this trek, but getting to be in the Indigenous territory, because this is we passed through to the Indigenous part of the trek. It was really freaking cool because they're actively living this lifestyle still. Like, you're not in a museum. You are out there seeing how they live firsthand. And I mean, there were just some things that really blew my mind, like the fact that they have no written history or language.
No written, nothing.
Nothing is
write.
written down.
It's all
They do not write in their language.
memory and word of mouth.
Yeah. So
wild.
everything is just passed along.
Yeah.
And they choose their leaders, and then the leader gets chosen as a child. And they
gets,
have
like-
to learn everything. They just have to remember everything, because there's no books, there's no studying, and like how we think with note cards and whatnot. Like, this information is passed on to these people as children, and their training takes decades.
Yeah.
It's just, it was really cool to see, to be a part of.
Yeah. The tribes, all the tribes were really impressive and really nice. Everybody, I know this is like kind of common for most Indigenous people, but the fact that they don't wear shoes is I think the most surprising thing, because I couldn't hike up a mountain without like my trekking boots.
Yeah.
And they're just over there. Some of
We're
them
pretty
just
weak.
barefoot,
Yeah.
like rock
And
climbing
the kids
with their
are running
toes,
on the trails by themselves.
barefoot. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
incredible.
wild. Okay. And then
So that was day 2.
yeah.
And then
Still haven't seen the Lost City.
still haven't seen the Lost City. That was day 3 where we got to the Lost City. But on day 2, we got to our final camp for the evening, which was an hour away walking from the Lost City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got there, had our dinner.
Jumped in the water again.
Yeah, got in the water again, of course.
Every night we got in the water.
And then and then we went to bed, and we woke up a little bit earlier because day 3 was the day that we actually got to go to the Lost City.
Yep. We woke up at 4:30, had breakfast at 5, hit the road by 5:30. And
Took us about 30 minutes to get to the stairs.
yeah, and another 45 minutes to get up the stairs, because there's 1,200 steps.
Yeah, there are
To get-
1,200 steps that lead to the Lost City, and these are not stairs
No.
that you think of in your head. These are like stone ledges that were built in the year 800.
Yeah, it's like,
And
I mean,
you have to get up them to get to the Lost City.
some of these steps were maybe 3-4 inches.
Yeah, they're
Wide?
not up to code.
No, no, they would not pass inspection.
Yeah, but
So-
I thought it just felt like I don't know if rite of passage is the right term, but it just felt like, okay, to get to this ancient city, here's your last challenge. You have to get up these 1,200 stairs.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know how you felt, but I felt like it was over before I knew it.
Yeah.
Like, I just kept putting one foot in front of the other.
Just didn't stop.
I would say it probably took between 20 and 30 minutes
For sure.
to get to the top.
Yeah. And man, was it worth it? It was
Yeah,
crazy.
as soon as we got up there, I mean, we tried to get up there pretty early to be one of the earlier groups. And man, it was just magical. Like, it's so high up, but there's also like huge mountains all around it.
Yeah.
And then
It's still in a valley.
it's so
kind of.
quiet, but there's so many birds, like tropical birds.
Toucans. Saw a couple
chirping.
toucans. Yeah. It was spiritual.
The morning light was perfect. I mean, it was just glowing up there. Like, it was truly just so beautiful.
And crazy to find out there are still tribes that live up there in the Lost City.
Yeah.
Because the Lost City, I mean, getting up and down from there was, for us, it was a hike, and for them it's like their daily commute.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. The Lost City was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The hike getting there was an amazing adventure. And then once we were up there, we got to enjoy a nice meal at our guides. Well, it was kind of snacks like nuts and fruits and newts. And then we got to learn a lot of the history about it and how they choose their leaders and everything. It was just crazy. We spent 3.5 hours up there in the Lost City before we went back down. And
and then towards the end, as we were walking out, we got to pass through where the Indigenous leader actually lives.
we met him.
And he gave us all bracelets, and then
They told us about him on the dollar,
he's on the 50,000 peso Colombian peso bill,
which is crazy.
which is it's so cool to see somebody who's alive
on a dollar, on a bill
currency.
Yeah.
And one of the highest bills that they use.
What?
And then we got tattoos from Antonio, our guide.
Yeah.
He picked these leaves off of different plants and then gave us orange and purple tattoos.
That was really cool. What I thought was really cool of how the indigenous people believe that when people come to the Lost City, it's supposed to be more or less spiritual. And when you get there, you're supposed to leave your bad feel. You're supposed to have the intention of leaving bad thoughts or bad feelings or things that are weighing on you. Leave it in the Lost City. And when you leave, you kind of feel lighter. And they believe that so much that 1 month out of the year in September, they actually close the Lost City to spiritually cleanse the entire place. And I thought that was really cool.
Get all that bad hiker energy out of it.
Yeah, all the angry hiker energy. And I thought that was really cool. And
the indigenous people have full control over the Lost City, so they can decide we're closing it for a month.
Yeah. The government. It's not like an amusement situation. This still belongs to the tribes that live up there, so they get a lot of control and
the direct descendants of the people who built it.
Which is I mean unheard of, really, because a lot of places would just kind of take it over and see it as an attraction. But the Colombian government done a really good job of turning what used to be the surrounding areas, at least, used to be coke farms and marijuana farms to farm territory for agricultural stuff and protection for the tribes that live up there. So I thought that was, I don't know, maybe we're biased because Antonio was so closely connected to everything and he gave us such a heartfelt insight on what the Colombian government has been doing for these people and for these farmers. So I thought that was really cool what they were doing. And that was the third day.
Yep. And then we hiked back down and of course went swimming again. And then, that was day 3. And then day 4 was a pretty short day for some of us. Because when we woke up, they gave us the option of taking a motorcycle ride. Yeah.
And it was like, okay, we hiked for 3 hours before?
Yeah.
And then we get to a stop and they're like, okay, you can hike for another 3 hours to get back to our starting destination, or you can hop on the back of a motorcycle for 20 minutes and get there. And surprisingly,
with like a 21-year-old kid.
Yeah, just zooming through the jungle, just left and right, potholes and rocks, and avoiding mules and cows,
other people.
And surprisingly, only half of the people wanted to do that.
I think that it was really adventurous.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that many people were comfortable riding a motorcycle through the jungle.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were going fast, 20 miles per hour. I mean, it doesn't sound fast, but when you're going uphill and downhill.
They were going fast. Yeah.
Rocks and crazy terrain. It was really, really cool. Lily got a lot of cool videos from it. And I didn't like I wish they had stronger motorcycles.
Yeah. Enzo had to hop off on the hills and literally run up the hills.
Because they were so steep that the motorcycle couldn't put me and the guy up. So I had to get off, hike up this hill, which I'm paying to avoid. And then once we get to the top, then we started going down and everything. I only had to get off like 3 times. So it was fine.
It was so much fun. I think that motorcycle ride was a highlight for everybody who did it. And there was definitely like a moment where we were just like zooming around the jungle, and I knew there was a great view behind me, so I turned around to look, and it was just this beautiful jungle landscape.
Yeah.
And then I'm like holding on to this kid and like trusting him with my whole life. Don't have a helmet on, flying through the jungle. And it's just like one of those moments in life where you're like, wow, this is happening and this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was really rewarding seeing everyone that didn't take the motorcycles get there.
Yeah.
Because we saw all them.
We sat and waited for them for probably an hour and a half at least, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we were so excited to get the whole group back together and to cheer everyone on as they finished. So we formed like a little tunnel and just like yelled and took photos and just got so excited for everybody to just cross that finish line and be done, have completed the Lost City trek. And we took bets on who was going to be first. And we won. Yeah.
Yeah,
Debbie was first. And she was the most nervous. And she had been messaging me a few days before the hike because she had never done anything like this before, and she suffers from some knee pain. And so she had messaged me a few days before, and she's like, hey, I don't even know if I can do this. I've never done anything like this. My knee bothers me sometimes. Like, what happens if I don't finish?
Yeah.
And then she was the first one to finish.
She absolutely crushed it.
Yeah. With a smile on her face.
Yeah. She was like, that wasn't bad at all.
She was stronger than any of us, to be honest.
It was really impressive.
Yeah.
So it was a 9-day, 8-night hike trip.
Yeah.
And we were hiking for 4
days,
couple
3
of
nights.
days, Cartagena, Santa Marta, and
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was an amazing experience. Would you do it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as we started hiking and I saw that jungle, I knew that I had to take more people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it was an amazing experience for everyone, and even for me. That I'm still considered not a hiker. I don't know if I like hiking or not.
By the way, it was only about 36 miles.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over 4 days.
Which is a big debate.
The bulk of it was the middle 2 days, though. Mm-hmm. Like the first day was short. The second 2 days, we probably did like 10 to 12 miles each day.
Yeah.
So.
It was absolutely amazing. And now, not to jump ship, but I mean, today was a big day, or last night was a big day.
Yeah,
right?
I just launched my next trip.
Patagonia. Wow. Patagonia.
Chilean Patagonia. And yeah, I'm taking a group of people there November 9th through the 17th of this year, 2024.
November 9th to the 17th, 2024.
We're doing the W track.
Yeah.
We could probably do a whole separate podcast episode just on
for sure
the W track.
For sure.
And what that's like.
Yeah, because I've never done it. You've done it a couple of times. And
I've done it 3 times.
I need to know a lot about this trip. But okay.
Yeah, if you're interested in this trip, travelliteadventures.com.
Yeah. Or
is where you can find it. Or you can follow me on Instagram at TravelTooch, TOOCH, and you can see the trip details there.
Awesome.
It's easier than the Lost City trek, to be honest.
But when you hear Patagonia, you think
big mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cool thing is that there's no altitude. Like you're at sea level essentially the whole time. So you're not struggling with any altitude. There's also there's no jungle heat. So it's like really comfortable hiking weather. Yeah. So it's easier. I swear. You'll come and then you'll see.
Done. Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me on my podcast.
We still don't know. I think we should do this like once a week. I don't know. We'll just talk about traveling or we talk about other stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Super fun.
And the dogs like it too.
The dogs like it. Yeah. They didn't contribute a lot. Typical. Couple squeaks. Just infiltrated the couch. This is Penelope and that's Holly over there. Great news. Penelope just beat cancer. So that's super exciting. But awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone who listens. And
thanks for coming to the Travel Lite podcast.
Bye-bye.